actually there, what do we do at the pitch meeting? We've done a lot of preparation here. If you've gone through the Grow Your Agency with BoomerangMe course, then you have actual customers in front of you, right? You have everything in place, everything implemented. You've done a lot of tasks and work to get to this point. So now it's time to actually walk in the door. You are aimed and guarded, and you have fully equipped to make this sale. So let's make sure that this moment is going to go smoothly and that you know what to do. So that's exactly what this video is going to be discussing today. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and share with you the course video that I have in my course, because I find it to be very to the point and direct. So why reinvent the wheel for this video? So anyway, I hope that you find this to be incredibly valuable. If this course is something that interests you, remember to check out my YouTube description. Also, descriptions underneath my videos will also have links conveniently to that course as well.
What are you supposed to do when you arrive to your pitch meeting? We are here to sell to them, right? And we've prepared ourselves before the pitch meeting, but now we just drove to the small business. Maybe we are uploading a Zoom call, however you're presenting this. What do you do when you get there? We're well aware where we are, so I'm going to skip all that. Okay. Well, I want to remind you first and foremost that you're simply having a conversation. Are you feeling nervous? Are you feeling nervous about walking in there, sitting down and telling people about what you sell? Are you nervous about selling your product? I want you to take a second, take a deep breath, and erase the word sell from your brain for just a moment. You're going to go in and you're simply going to have a conversation with somebody that you now know. They like you. They're beginning to trust you. And you have a little bit of rapport with them already. So now you're going to be sitting down with your friend, or at least an acquaintance, right? So relax, take the pressure off your shoulders that you're selling something, because I want you to walk in there with the mentality of having a conversation with somebody else. And this shift in the way that you are addressing this pitch meeting, which sounds very intimidating, now is going to, you just let it go, let it melt off. Go in there with the intention of having a conversation. And that intention is going to become very transparent in your body language. It's going to become very transparent in the way that you talk with the prospects sitting with you at the table. You go in there with the posture of selling something. It's going to be very salesman, car salesman type. You risk moving over into that realm, and you've worked really hard to develop and cultivate the beginnings of a relationship with this individual. So we don't want to let that go. So walk in there. I'm having a conversation, and I got to tell you, I have gotten into my car, taken a deep breath, and said out loud, I'm having a conversation. It's just a conversation, Amanda. We're going to go talk to so-and-so, and we're having a conversation. And when I get there and I'm getting out of my car, I will literally get out when I'm nervous, especially early on. I'm going in there and I'm going to have myself a conversation. It's just two people at a table having a conversation. That's it. We do conversations every single day and we don't get nervous. That's all this is. So give yourself that little pep talk if this is making you uncomfortable or nervous. All right, so your meeting checklist. Okay, so you're walking in the room. Of course, you're going to be in a super good mood, very polite. Many times they are opening the door for me. You're going to notice that as well. Sometimes the establishment or the business will be closed. Other times they will still be in full swing. So make that as it will. It doesn't change our checklist when we're going in. This checklist also doesn't change if you were to perform this on a Zoom call or something to that degree. You want to start it by making light small talk. So don't get into anything heavy. Definitely don't talk about anything with your business. We're making small talk. We're talking weather. How are you doing? A compliment here or there is always fantastic to be able to provide. or making general small talk. The other thing that I would caution is don't make the small talk last too long, right? They're giving you their time, which is their most valuable asset, and we don't want to waste that time. But it is important to deepen that relationship. Then from making small talk, we need to lower their guard. We've pepped ourselves up here that we're just having a conversation. Guess how they're feeling on the other side. They know that you're coming to tell them about what you do, and they know that you're coming to try to sell them something. So naturally, they have a little bit of a guard up, even though we've warmed them. So their guard is much lighter. They're just probably feeling a little hesitant, okay, versus feeling angry or annoyed, right? So we've got them to hesitant, and that's a really good place to start our meeting. But we want to take their hesitation and watch it melt off their shoulders. And I'm going to step you through what it is that I say that physically watch. Do this and watch, okay? As you are going to say what I'm going to teach you in just a moment, you're going to watch their shoulders relax and their body language. If they're sitting down, they might actually sit back in their seat instead of, very stiff. They might actually lean in and rest on the table. You're going to notice that their entire body will shift after you tell them this next few sentences. So after a small talk, this is roughly what I say, right? I'm saying it organically, so it'll change every time, but in general, this is what I say. Hey, thank you so much for meeting you. My goal for meeting you today is really just to share what it is that I do and how I support local businesses. Sure, I would be thrilled, of course, if at the end of this you're like, sign me up, and we both laugh. But really, my intention today is to share what it is I do. And I would so much appreciate your feedback about my services. Clearly, you are a very successful local business owner. In my case, I use restaurant. Or I specifically say the restaurant name, right? Um, Clearly, you're a very successful local business owner. And so, your input is incredibly valuable to me. So I just want to make sure that you know what the expectation is from me with this meeting, because, either what I have to offer you is going to, be something that can be really valuable to you, or it won't. But I want you to know that even if what I leave here with today is your feedback, it would be very valuable to me as well. And so I'm done. So by saying that, though, it's gone from, only expectation here is I'm going to try to sell you something, and they're already probably thinking, well, I either have money or I don't have money, or I don't have really all these other things, right? So by saying this little few sentences, you can physically watch their body posture change and their guard go down. And now their ears turn on. And that's really the difference that this makes for me, because they're not blocking that out with all the other distractions that they had before. So go ahead and take a moment to explain why you're passionate about supporting local businesses. And this is going to be different for everyone. So I'm not going to script this for you, because everyone's motives are different. Your past experiences are a little bit different, but don't make this long. Just let them know, hey, this is why I'm so passionate about supporting local businesses. And so this is why I created my agency. So that's pretty much the two very short topics that I cover in this bullet point right here, and then I move on. So I'd love to, so the way that I transition from telling them why I support local businesses to asking my discovery questions is this. I'd love to learn a little bit more about your business. And then you go right into your first question. In my case, that would be, so how are you attracting new customers into your business? Right? So we go right into that question. Your job during these discovery questions is clearly to know your discovery questions, but also to stop and listen. Make that eye contact. Sometimes I have to catch myself because I'll cross my arms, and that kind of body language communicates. Go ahead and uncross your arms You could even lean in, but you're going to make sure that they know that you're listening and you're giving them your attention, right? It's their time to talk. And make sure you're asking those open-ended questions. No question that comes out of your mouth should be able to be answered with a yes, no, or maybe. Once you're done with your discovery questions, this is how I transition to presenting my pitch deck. May I share with you what it is that I do? So that might sound like a remedial question, like, that's a dumb question. That's the whole purpose of this meeting, right? The reason I ask this question is it gets your first yes. The more times during your presentation, especially after those pain points, that you can get them to say yes. So this is after discovery questions. We don't want any short answers like yes during a discovery question. But during your presentation, do you understand? Yes. Awesome. We want them to say yes as many times as you can. And that just gets them on a roll because it makes it at the very end very easy for them to continue saying yes. So it's a psychological game in that way, but that works. So make sure when you are giving your pitch deck that you're speaking in a conversational pace. Pace being the most important word here. So when you are giving your presentation, it's okay that you're new and it might be a little uncomfortable at first. You might stumble a little bit. And because of that, our tendency tends to be to speed up and talk really quick. Take some deep breaths if you notice that you're doing that. And try to speak in a conversational pace instead. Okay, breathe, breathe. Then at the end, you're going to ask if there are any questions. Remember, in your pitch deck, we have an entire slide dedicated to remind you to stop and ask those questions. And then make sure that you are answering all their questions before you ever bring into the play anything about price. We want to answer all those questions. And we want to build so much curiosity now that they have to ask you to show them the price. Okay. Then you're going to show the value stack and the price after they've asked that question. And then before you leave, you have some form of next steps in place. So, of course, if the answer is yes, your next steps are going to be onboarding. If the question or the outcome is, okay, I'm good with this, but I have to talk with my spouse. Well, darn, I wish I had known that. Great. What are your next steps? Have something in place and in mind for that. And so in that case, for me, the next steps are great. When do you think that you can talk with your spouse? And they'll let you know. Awesome. Is it okay if I follow up then with you on this date? What's the best time for that? So make sure you're setting that appointment. Would you like me to go ahead and give you a call at that time, or would you like me to text you? Because I want this to be comfortable, right? And I'm not pressuring them. And then, of course, what are you going to do when they tell you no? Right? So have those ideas in place in your head for your next steps.